Revealed. My son left me alone to care for dogs, but what happened changed my life forever. Martha Johnson, a 62-year-old woman from the heart of Maplewood, felt like she was trapped in a never-ending storm. Her son, Tyler, had torn away like a shooting star, chasing dreams of a music career in the city, leaving her devastated and alone. The day he left, the house echoed with silence, and her heart ached for both the sound of his laughter and the warmth of his presence. Now, all that remained were the wagging tails of the rescue dogs she devoted her life to at Paws and Claws. Each day began and ended with the soft whines and furry faces of the dogs she loved dearly. But with Tyler gone, tending to their needs felt overwhelming. She juggled vet appointments, fed the hungry mouths, and cleaned up after them, feeling each task weigh her down further. How long can she keep this up? She could hear the whispers of her neighbors, their doubtful glances piercing her resolve. Yet her love for these pups kept her going, until the loneliness became a relentless partner in her days. Just when despair began to cloud her heart, an unexpected visit from Mr. Thompson, her reclusive neighbor, changed everything. He shuffled into her yard one evening, his battle-scarred features softened by the twinkle in his eyes, sparking hope. A lonely veteran, his stories of loss echoed her own, and as they shared a bittersweet laugh over a puppy's antics, the two bonded in unexpected ways. Yet, as new friendships bloomed, the financial strain of running the rescue threatened to choke the life out of her dreams. Bills piled high, groceries, vet checks, even utilities were slipping away, and she was running out of options. The annual farmers market approached, a beacon of hope where she could possibly raise funds. "Maybe this could save us," she whispered to a particularly affectionate beagle, but doubts crept in like shadows. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The truth settled heavy on her chest. The economic struggle wasn't just hers alone, it rippled through the entire town. But through their shared laughter and heart-wrenching stories, Martha discovered a resilience she didn't know she possessed. Mr. Thompson, with his gentle wisdom, inspired her to turn their plight into something powerful. Together, they planned a fundraising event, a daunting task that left Martha both exhilarated and terrified.
As the community began to rally, hope flickered at the edges of her heart. But just as everything seemed to align, a sudden knock at her door shattered it all. Her heart raced, butterflies danced in her stomach. She opened it to find Tyler standing there. "Mom," he said, and in that moment, the world together stood still. He wasn't there just to visit. He wanted to make amends. The air tensed with unsaid words, unresolved emotions, and the aching question hung between them. Could a mother forgive the son who abandoned her when she needed him most? Martha's breath caught in her throat as she looked into Tyler's eyes. The once mischievous glint she remembered had dimmed, replaced with a somber seriousness. "Mom, he started, but the words faltered as he took a step closer, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, an echo of guilt lingering in his dance. She wanted to leap into his arms, to feel his warmth envelop her again, but the hurt surged like a tidal wave. "Why now, Ty?" she whispered, the vulnerability of her heart laid bare. Tears threatened to spill as memories of the laughter and love they once shared washed over her. "You left." "I know, and I'm so sorry." His voice trembled, an unfamiliar crack that made her heart soften just a fraction. "I thought I could make something of myself. I thought you'd be okay. I didn't realize." He hesitated, shaking his head as if trying to shake off regret itself. "I didn't realize how much I'd miss you." The weight of those words clung between them, heavy yet hopeful. She glanced back at the chaos of dogs in the background. Their barks and playful yips were the soundtrack of her every day. Martha had managed, but at what cost? "Things are tough, Tyler. The rescue, the bills." He looked over her shoulder, his expression unreadable. "You're still taking care of those animals? They need me,
Just like I need them, she replied, her heart swelling with both pride and sadness. The truth was, the rescue had become a refuge for Martha. It kept her anchor when everything else felt adrift. And in her own way, she had clung to it, hoping Tyler would somehow realize the importance of that bond. But what if I could help? He suggested, cautiously stepping into her world. I'm not asking for forgiveness yet, but I want to be there. Maybe we can figure this out together? The thought, like a warm sunbeam, pierced her heart. Could she actually trust him again? Could they build something anew? Then it struck her, the upcoming farmer's market. She had feared carrying it all alone. We could use this event to rally support, she said hesitantly, feeling a flicker of excitement. You could help. We could show the community what we're doing. Maybe they'll open their hearts and wallets. Count me in, Mom, he said, determination lighting up his features. I'll help however I can. But as they began to plan, doubt still lingered beneath the surface. Tyler had once chosen ambition over family.
What if he left again? Or worse, what if she poured her heart into this endeavor only to be abandoned yet again? Days turned into a flurry of frantic tasks. Posters were designed, donations gathered, and excitement brewed in their small town. Yet in quiet moments, Martha would steal glances at Tyler, each one brimming with questions, and a spark of hope that felt both intoxicating and terrifying. The night before the farmer's market, Martha sat on the porch with Mr. Thompson, both of them watching the light fade into twilight. Their laughter had grown more resonant since Tyler's return, but as she told Mr. Thompson about the event, he could see the worry etched on her face. Life doesn't always follow the path we want it to, Martha, he said, his gaze steady. Sometimes it's about taking a leap of faith. What if this time, when you trust him, things turn out differently? His words lingered, teasing a delicate balance between fear and chance. As the stars twinkled above, a whisper of courage surged within her. Perhaps forgiveness could be the very thing to weave her family back together, even amid the uncertainty. But as dawn approached and the day of the event dawned bright and beautiful, Martha felt a knot tighten in her stomach. What if they failed? What if the community closed their hearts? Moments before they left, another knock echoed through the house, solid and unmistakable. An unexpected visitor at the door again? With a racing heart, Martha exchanged a glance with Tyler. Who could it be, and how would this twist of fate change everything they had just begun to rebuild? Martha hesitated, her heart thudding against her ribs. The knock sounded again, more urgent this time. Tyler's brow furrowed, casting a shadow over the glimmer of hope that had slowly begun to fill their space. Together, they exchanged a look filled with uncertainty. Then Tyler stepped forward and opened the door. Standing there was Jenna, the town's familiar yet unpredictable animal rights activist. Her usually bright demeanor seemed dimmed, her face lined with worry. Martha, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. Martha's stomach dropped. Predicament formed in a cupped fist as fear gripped her. What is it? She managed to ask, her voice steadier than she felt. Jenna's eyes scanned the room, landing on Tyler, and for a moment there was silence. Then she met Martha's gaze again. It's about the farmer's market and the animals. Tyler stepped back, concern etched on his face. What's happened? Jenna took a deep breath, her voice tremulous as she began to explain. I've just come from the mayor's office. There's been an overwhelming complaint about the noise from the rescue. Some residents are threatening to take measures to shut you down. They say it's causing too much disturbance during their evening routine. Martha's stomach sank. All that work, all that hope, threatened in an instant by a few complaints. But we're helping these animals. They need a voice.
She protested, her distress revealing itself. I know, Jenna replied, her tone softening in empathy. But you need to be prepared. There's a petition going around. If it gains enough support, they might move to shut us down for good. Martha felt the ground beneath her shake. All her plans with Tyler, all their hopes for the market, they now hung precariously above an abyss. What can we do? She asked, panic clawing at her throat. Tyler stepped forward, fury rising. This isn't right. We're a part of this community. We can fight this. We can get the support we need. Jenna nodded, but added, we have to act fast. You need to gather allies. If we can't convince the town that the rescue is a necessary positive force, we'll struggle to hold on. Crushing sadness wrapped around Martha's spirit. She had once believed that love and dedication would be enough to keep their little refuge alive, but now doubt seeped into her thoughts. How can I ask people to support us when they're already turning against us? Because you have something to show them, Tyler said, his voice steadying her racing heart.
This market could be the turning point. We need to showcase why the rescue matters. We can't let fear stop us, Mom. Not now. His words sparked something within her, a small flicker of hope. You really think we can turn this around? She asked, looking at him earnestly. I know we can, Tyler replied, his gaze unwavering. Let's gather the community, show what we do. If we find the right stories and the right faces to share, maybe we'll change their minds. As the new plan began to unfold in Martha's mind, adrenaline pushed the weight of fear aside, if only for a moment. All this time she'd felt alone in her struggle. Now, with Tyler by her side and a plan in motion, the possibility of triumph brightened the way ahead. But another question quietly loomed over her. What other obstacles were lying in wait? With that urgency pressing down, the reality of the upcoming farmers' market felt heavier than ever. The clock was ticking, and the risk of failure no longer felt abstract. It was now real and tangible, the kind that could tear them apart again. Jenna shifted slightly, breaking Martha's reverie. We should start mobilizing people now, but we need a strong message. As Martha thought of what it would take to find that message, a dark thought crept in. And what if we don't? What if everything falls apart? Tyler took Martha's hand firmly, determination etched in his features. Then we'll fight until the very end. Together. Together. The word brought a swell of emotion, hope swirling in the gut-gnawing fear. What was meant to be a day of hope had turned into a race against time. With resolve building, Martha nodded. They had to spread the word, and fast. Before she could voice her thoughts, another knock interrupted once more, louder this time. What new challenge awaited them now?
With fear battling hope, she realized this was just the beginning. Martha took a deep breath, her heart quickening as she moved to open the door once more. The urgency of the situation coated her skin like a thick fog. She hesitated, but curiosity pushed her forward. This time it was Mrs. Whitaker, a well-respected member of the community, and her arms were full of flyers. I heard about the petitions, she said, her voice heavy with concern. What can I do to help? The relief washed over Martha like a wave. We need to rally the community. We have to show how important the farmers' market is and what it means for the animals. Mrs. Whitaker nodded. Let's spread the word. I have a few neighbors who love the market. We can organize a meeting for anyone who supports you. Tyler joined in, excitement sparking in his eyes. If we can gather enough people, maybe we can create a video showing the impact of the rescue, not just on the animals, but on the community as a whole. Martha felt the fire of hope rekindle in her heart. That's a great idea. If we can highlight the stories of animals we've helped, maybe people will see the bigger picture. I'll draft a message and set up a time, Mrs. Whitaker said, already pulling out her phone. The more voices we have, the harder it will be for them to ignore us. As they began to formulate a plan, adrenaline surged through Martha's veins. This new call to action felt different. This was more than just saving their market. It was about their community coming together, a tapestry of people united for a cause. But even as hope flickered anew, a voice inside her whispered doubts. What if they couldn't gather enough support? What if the naysayers were more powerful than their voices? Silencing that voice required all her strength, but she focused on the warmth of Tyler's hand holding hers. Let's spread the word, Tyler urged, his enthusiasm infectious. He dashed off to gather friends, the determination etched on his face radiating a sense of purpose. As Martha watched him go, an unexpected wave of gratitude washed over her. This was her son, a young man rising to fight for something so much larger than himself. And in that moment, she knew they were truly together in this battle. Time passed in a blur as flyers were printed and shared. The whole town buzzed with conversation, and more people showed up at their small community meeting than she had anticipated. The energy in the room was palpable, a mix of nervous excitement and fiery determination. Each story shared, each hand raised in support, fueled Martha's hope. About an hour into the meeting, the mood shifted. One voice, skeptical and firm, broke through the rising tides of hope. But what about the noise? We need peace in our neighborhood. The animals, they don't belong here. The room fell silent, Martha feeling every gaze on her. That familiar anxiety crept back in, tightening around her chest.
How could they counter that argument when it seemed so valid? She opened her mouth to speak but faltered, the words caught like stones in her throat. Then Tyler leaned closer, whispering, "You've got this, Mom. Just share why we do what we do. They'll see." Taking a deep breath, Martha gathered her courage. "We're providing hope for these animals because they've never had a chance before." As she shared her story, feeling the warmth of support from her community, she could barely believe the shift that was happening. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the gathering room, diverting everyone's attention to the kitchen where a commotion erupted. They turned just in time to catch a glimpse of the source, a stray pit bull bursting through the door with a wild energy that set chairs rattling. Martha's heart raced. What could this unexpected event mean for their meeting and the message they were trying to send? Martha's heart thudded loud in her chest as the pit bull lunged into the room, its presence both electrifying and chaotic. A wave of gasps spread across the gathering, eyes wide with shock. The dog darted around, its tail wagging wildly, nose sniffing the air, seemingly unfazed by the startled crowd. "Is it okay?" someone whispered. "What's it doing here?" Martha felt a mix of anxiety and curiosity swirling within her. The moment seemed to stretch, hanging in the air like a suspenseful pause before a storm. The dog, with its worn coat and soulful eyes, momentarily forgot the human anxiety surrounding it. It began running in circles, an embodiment of pure, unfiltered joy. "Someone should catch it," Tyler exclaimed, his voice penetrating the atmosphere. "Wait!" But before he could finish, the dog leaped up to one of the older women sitting nearby, a gentle soul known for her love of all creatures. The two shared an unexpected connection. She laughed as the pit bull planted its muddy paws on her lap, reveling in the attention. "He just wants to be loved," Martha urged, feeling a shift in the atmosphere, just like the animals were fighting for. The tension in the room slowly melted as laughter began to ripple through the meeting, breaking the ice of skepticism. Perhaps it wasn't just a dog bursting in. Perhaps it was a message that couldn't be ignored. The stray had disrupted their gathering, but also reminded them of the very mission they were pursuing, to open hearts and give hope. "Does anyone know where it came from?" one neighbor asked, bending down to gently scratch behind the dog's ears. "I think I've seen it around the block," Mrs. Whitaker said, her lips curving into a soft smile. "Poor thing looks like it needs a home." Martha felt sparks of inspiration igniting inside her. Here was a living testament to the cause they championed, a plucky survivor who had walked that perilous line between safety and abandon. "It's just like every animal we help," she said, her voice rising above the collective murmurs.
Every one of them deserves a second chance. With that, she made eye contact with Tyler, and he nodded, his enthusiasm reignited. Together, they stepped forward, allowing the pit bull to draw closer to them. The moment grew sacred. Martha could see her neighbors' faces soften as they looked at the dog, eyes glistening, hearts opening. "What do you say, folks?" Tyler called out, his voice filling with urgency. "Let's turn this energy into action. Let's foster more animals. Let's show the community how we can blend our love for each other and for these animals." Martha watched as heads nodded and arms waved in support. Tyler grabbed a notepad, ready to jot down ideas. Ideas flowed from all corners: fostering programs, a fundraiser at the market, community outreach, every voice building the next layer of their mission. Yet, despite the excitement, a nagging worry crept back into her mind. She could feel the doubt lurking, whispering, what if they couldn't sustain this momentum? What if the difficult conversations were still to come? Just then, the pit bull settled beside her, looking up with trusting eyes, as if sensing her struggle. She knelt to scratch its head, feeling warmth radiate through her fingertips. "You really are a gift, aren't you?" she murmured. The dog thumped its tail, and Martha smiled, a glimmer of resolve igniting within her. This was not just about saving a market, but about saving lives, animal and human alike. As the meeting continued, filled with excitement and ideas, a voice echoed from the back. "Can this little guy help us on our journey? We should name him." Laughter filled the room again, emotions swirling like a gentle dance. This situation was spiraling into something bigger, deeper. But as Martha watched her community rally, a sudden thought struck her. What would happen tomorrow? Would their newfound unity hold strong amidst the coming challenges? The question lingered in the air, heavy with uncertainty,
and Martha felt her pulse quicken. How far could they really go? How much change could they create together? And the stray dog, now lying by her feet, seemed to hold the key to their unfolding story. Martha could hardly believe the transformation taking place before her eyes. It was as if the pit bull had sparked something deep inside each person in the room. Murmurs of ideas turned to discussions, and discussions blossomed into a collective enthusiasm. Faces that moments ago were skepticism were now bright with hope and determination. "We can partner with local vet clinics to provide free checkups for strays," said a neighbor named Jenna, her hands animated as she spoke. "And we can arrange training for the dogs before we adopt them out." "Great point," Tyler responded, scribbling frantically. "Who else has ideas? We need to keep this momentum rolling." A chorus of suggestions poured in, and Martha felt her heart swell with pride.
This was the community she had fought so hard to rally, and here they were, united by a single stray dog. Just as the energy surged, the older woman who had first welcomed the pit bull interrupted, her voice soft but resolute. "What about the ones who aren't found as easily? The ones left behind, unseen?" Martha's heart sank at the thought. For every dog that received a glimpse of love, dozens remained wandering alone, a painful reminder that their mission had only just begun. "You're right," she replied, her tone somber yet hopeful. "We can create awareness through social media. If we can reach just one person, it might save another life." Another voice chimed in, "And we can ask local businesses to sponsor our events. We could have a pet adoption day with food trucks and games." A youthful energy coursed through the room, reinforcing Martha's belief that they were destined for great things together. Still, unease whispered at the back of her mind. This unity felt delicate, so easily shattered by the harsh realities that lay ahead. "Let's set a date for our first event," Tyler shouted, and the room echoed with agreement. They decided on the following month, a momentous day they hoped would redefine their community's relationship with stray animals. As the crowd thinned out, Martha noticed the pit bull trotting over to the older woman, who sat in quiet reflection. It nudged her gently, an unspoken bond forming between them. "You've made such a difference today," Martha said, moving closer. "Perhaps this little one found you for a reason." "Maybe so," the woman replied, her eyes glistening. "I lost my dog last year. I think I needed this moment just as much as he did." Martha's chest tightened. Life could be cruel, yet these unexpected connections often carried profound healing. She wondered how often they'd miss these moments if they weren't willing to open their hearts a little wider. As she turned back to grab her things, her eyes caught something on the floor, a bright blue collar, clearly worn and frayed at the edges. For a moment she felt a jolt of recognition. "Did someone lose this?" she asked, holding it up for everyone to see. Gasps erupted, and a young girl stepped forward. "That's Max's collar. He was my dog. I thought he was gone for good." Martha could hardly breathe. The weight of the world rushed back, mingling with disbelief. "You mean he's been out there all this time?" The girl nodded, tears pooling in her eyes. "We looked everywhere." In that instant, Martha understood. The dog's arrival tonight had been more than just chaos. It was a lifeline thrown into the vast sea of despair. Their search for hope might just extend beyond their own plans. "Let's not just focus on the strays," she called out, her voice steadier now. "Let's also create a network for reunited pets. Everyone deserves that happiness." The room buzzed with renewed energy, but beneath it, the shadows remained.
Martha felt her heart race with a mix of excitement and fear. What would they uncover in their quest for lost pets while trying to save the strays? Would they face challenges they hadn't yet imagined? As she locked eyes with the pit bull now resting at her feet, she realized the journey ahead was bound to be complicated, and with every step they took together, the very essence of their mission would evolve. What else will we find tomorrow? She wondered, her heart pounding as new possibilities unfurled like leaves in spring. Would they discover more than just lost dogs? Would they find connections that could change lives forever? The answer lingered in the air, promising a future both daunting and exciting. The next morning, Martha could hardly shake the excitement from the night before. The sunlight streamed through her window, brightening the small kitchen where she sipped her coffee, her mind still buzzing with ideas.
She had barely slept, envisioning the event that awaited them. It felt monumental, as though the meeting had not only shaken the community awake, but also drawn her closer to the shadows lurking in its corner. Rounding the corner to her living room, she froze mid-step. The pit bull lay sprawled on her couch, snoring softly as if he'd found a home, something she desperately wanted for him. She felt a warmth spread through her, a connection she hadn't expected to forge so quickly. Her phone buzzed, snapping her back to reality. It was a message from Jenna. "Are you free to chat? I have a few more ideas." Martha quickly agreed. They both knew it was imperative to harness the energy from the night before. As she paced back and forth, her mind raced through the possibilities, barely containing her excitement. How far could they reach? How many lives could they change? As noon approached, Jenna arrived, her enthusiasm palpable. Together they brainstormed ideas, jotting down thoughts that swirled like leaves caught in a windstorm. Suddenly, Jenna paused, her expression shifting from joy to concern. "What about Max's family? Have you thought about reaching out to them more? Maybe his disappearance is linked to a larger problem in our community." Martha nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. "You're right. We can host a community meeting just for families to share their experiences. If we can understand why dogs go missing, we can work on preventing it." They quickly drafted a plan and decided to promote it through social media. As they posted, Martha couldn't help but feel an undercurrent of anxiety. What if they encountered resistance? What if the issues were deeper than they imagined? But she tasted the sweetness of hope, and under it lay a stubborn commitment. The days turned into a flurry of collaboration. Posters went up in store windows, flyers scattered throughout the local parks, and the community buzzed with anticipation.
But with each detail solidified, an unsettling thought clawed at Martha's mind. The idea of lost reached further than the pets. A sense of feeling lost echoed in her heart, too. Her introspection was cut short by a knock at the door. It was Tyler, breathless and beaming. "We got a call from the local animal shelter. They want to partner with us for the adoption event. They're sending volunteers to help us set up." Martha's heart leapt. They were gaining traction, gaining allies. But there was still an ache in her gut. She pulled Tyler aside. "What if we hear stories of abuse or neglect? People might not react well." He smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. "One step at a time, Martha. Our strength lies in the way we choose to respond. We can create a safe space for those stories. You'll see." As they finalized the details over the next couple of weeks, Martha began to feel the sting of doubt creeping back. What if they walked into something they weren't prepared for? What if their best efforts fell painfully short? On the night before the adoption event, she lay awake, replaying all she'd worked for, her dreams for the furry creatures and the families they'd reunite with. Suddenly, the pit bull lifted his head, as if sensing her worry. He patted over, resting his head on her lap. It was a simple gesture, yet it brought tears to Martha's eyes. She pulled him close, whispering, "Tomorrow will be a big day. I just hope we're ready." The dog's warmth seeped into her heart, reminding her that change took courage, and it was okay to feel fear. As she drifted into an uneasy sleep, she recognized an undeniable truth. The pang of uncertainty was part of this journey. Tomorrow's event was just the beginning. It would open doors, but it might also unearth truths that were hard to confront. Could she handle it? The next day loomed, a chance to reshape their community and discover strength and vulnerability. What truths would they uncover in the process? Would they leave with more than just lost pets, or would their mission reveal even deeper layers of connection and healing? The questions hung in the air as she closed her eyes, bracing herself for what lay ahead. The sun broke through the morning clouds, casting a golden hue over Martha's home. She woke up to the sound of the pit bull nosing her hand, nudging her gently as if urging her to rise. The heartwarming sight of him stirred something within her, a determination, a sense of purpose. Today was different. Today they would begin to create change. Martha stumbled into the kitchen, her stomach grumbling in protest. As she brewed coffee, her eyes wandered to the flyers pinned on the fridge. Each colorful page represented a moment, a story yet to unfold, filled with hope and possibility. She envisioned families arriving, nervous yet excited, and the dogs wagging their tails, ready to find their forever homes. After a quick breakfast, she dressed in her favorite shirt, a light blue one that reminded her of clear skies. As she stepped outside, the crisp air filled her lungs, renewing her spirit. The pit bull followed her to the car, his tail a steady metronome of enthusiasm. "You ready, buddy?" she asked, and he barked in response, as if understanding every word. Jenna was already at the community center when Martha arrived. Tables were being set up, colorful banners were hung, and the scent of grilled hot dogs wafted through the open doors. Excitement electrified the atmosphere as volunteers hustled and bustled, preparing for the day ahead. "Hey, Martha, look at this," Jenna called over, holding a crate of dog toys. Her face glowed with joy. "We've got so much stuff thanks to the shelter volunteers. This is going to be amazing." Martha nodded, but her stomach twisted at the thought of where this day could lead. This was more than just an adoption event. It was a chance to spark conversations that might uncover unsettling truths. The first families began to arrive. Children ran to the dog pens, eyes wide with wonder. Martha's heart warmed as laughter filled the air, but a shadow loomed just beneath the surface. What stories might they face today? A woman approached, her eyes hesitant. "Hi, I'm Laura. I heard about this event and thought it might help. I lost my dog a few months ago. I don't know what to do anymore." Martha felt her chest tighten. She opened her mouth to speak but found no words. Instead, she reached for Laura's hand, squeezing it with empathy. "I'm so sorry. Let's talk. You're not alone in this." As the conversation unfolded, other families began joining in, sharing stories of their lost pets, some heartbreaking, others filled with hope. Each revelation etched itself into Martha's heart. It wasn't just about the dogs anymore. This was a gathering of souls sharing their burdens. Hours passed in an emotional whirl, laughter intertwining with heavy silence. In one corner, Tyler was talking to a small group, encouraging them to share their stories. In another, volunteers helped children paint faces on adoptable pups. Each interaction reinforced their mission, yet Martha couldn't shake the weight pressing down on her. As they prepared for the afternoon's discussions, a sudden hush fell over the crowd. A man stepped forward, his face drawn, eyes dark like storm clouds. "I lost my dog last year, but I didn't just lose a pet. I lost a part of myself." The room held its breath as Martha's heart pounded in her chest. Did they dare confront the underlying issues of neglect or abuse that lingered, waiting to be acknowledged? She glanced at Jenna, who nodded back, silently urging her on. It was time. Martha stepped closer. "Thank you for sharing that. You are brave for opening up. We are here to lift each other up. Can we talk about what happened? Together, maybe we can find a way to heal."
As the man began to speak, soft murmurs filled the room. Martha felt the walls closing in around her. Was she ready to hear the rest? The weight of the moment settled like a mantle on her shoulders. The truth was beginning to unravel, and she wasn't sure where it would lead. Would they be prepared for the stories that lay ahead, or would it break them apart? The air crackled with anticipation, electric and raw. What new truths would come to light? Would Martha and her friends emerge stronger, or would the revelations rip their fragile community apart? Martha held her breath as the man, whose name was revealed to be Daniel, began sharing the depths of his grief. His voice shook slightly, raw with emotion. "I didn't just lose a dog. I lost my best friend. He was there for me through everything. My son's departure, the emptiness in my home. When he was gone, it felt as if the light went out." The crowd listened intently, their eyes glistening with unshed tears. Daniel's words resonated deeply, echoing sentiments that were familiar to many. Martha exchanged a look with Jenna, whose own expression reflected a mixture of compassion and resolve. They were in this together, and together they would navigate this difficult terrain. As Martha stepped closer, she noticed the slight tremor in Daniel's hands. "It's okay to mourn," she said gently, her voice steady. "You're not alone in this. We're all here, sharing our stories, looking for healing." That connection brought something out in Daniel. "I didn't know how to ask for help. I thought I should be strong, but I just felt so broken. This event, it's like a spark of hope. I see other people who feel like me." Martha nodded, absorbing his words. There was power in vulnerability. "What if we all shared our own stories?" she suggested, glancing around at the faces in the crowd. "Maybe we can find the strength to help each other." One by one, people opened up, revealing their losses, their fears, and their hopes for finding a new companion. A young girl with curly hair whispered how her little sister was too afraid to come after losing their family dog. A middle-aged woman shared how she had come to honor the memory of her own lost pet by volunteering at shelters. Each story wove a stronger bond between them. But as they shared, a shadow threaded through Martha's heart. What if the truth behind Daniel's loss extended beyond simply losing a pet?
What if it hinted at a more profound tragedy that connected deeply with her own history? As they spoke, Martha felt an urge to address those worries, to bring light to the room's collective shadows. We've all faced pain, whether it's from losing a beloved dog or other heartaches, but today we can also embrace the idea of healing together, she said, her voice unwavering. The group shifted, a slight crackle of energy filling the air. They needed hope, they needed change. Just as Martha felt exhilarated, her heart was also heavy.
What if they stumbled upon truths that could shatter their newfound connections? Jenna stepped forward, her face radiating warmth. Change is possible, but we have to hold each other accountable. We need to speak out against neglect and promote responsible ownership. Together, we can transform this community for the better. Applause erupted, echoing through the hall. It felt hopeful, yet daunting. Talking was one thing, but acting on those words was another. Once the clapping subsided, Daniel looked up, a glimmer of determination sparking in his eyes. I want to do more, not just share my story, but help those who feel alone. Can we establish a group? Something that supports people like us? Martha's heart raced. Absolutely, she replied, the idea sparking enthusiasm in her. We can call it Paws of Hope. We can help each other while giving our dogs a voice. The notion electrified the room, hope blossoming like wildflowers after a long winter. Yet beneath the excitement, Martha felt uncertainty creeping back in. They were planting seeds, but what if those seeds brought to light things they weren't ready to face? As they continued to brainstorm ideas for their group, the realities of their situation, and the potentially troubling truths behind their individual stories remained just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. What if facing those truths meant confronting the darkest aspects of their pasts? Martha couldn't shake the feeling that they might not be prepared for what lay ahead. In that moment of anticipation, as laughter mingled with sobs of relief, a woman at the back nervously raised her hand, her voice trembling. I have something to add. The room quieted, breath suspended, hearts ready to hear yet another story. What revelation would she bring to light? Would it deepen the connections among them, or unravel what they had just started to build? The woman took a deep breath, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for the right words. I lost my dog to neglect. I didn't realize until it was too late. Her voice wavered. I thought he was just a dog, but he was so much more. I had my own battles that overshadowed everything. Martha's heart plunged into a painful understanding. The room was a tapestry of pain interwoven with hope. What do you mean? She asked gently, the words barely escaping her lips. I was dealing with my own addiction, the woman continued, tears now streaming down her cheeks. I didn't mean to neglect him. I thought I could fix everything alone, but I couldn't. Her confession hung in the air, heavy yet liberating. All eyes were on her now, and Martha felt her own heart racing. How many of them bore their own hidden struggles? How many had faced demons they weren't prepared to confront? But this event, it made me realize, she said, wiping her face. I wasn't alone in my pain. I can't change what happened, but I can help others. I want to turn this into a movement, something that not only speaks for the pets we've lost, but also for people fighting their own battles. The energy in the room shifted. Martha could see the gears shifting in everyone's minds. The woman's vulnerability had created a safe haven. Let's not only focus on the pets, she said, rallying the crowd. Let's also support those who need a lifeline. Together, we can become each other's voices. Daniel nodded fervently. I believe that's how we find healing. By supporting each other, we strengthen the bonds between humans and animals alike. As more stories surfaced, weaving threads of shared struggles and victories, Martha felt elation coursing through her veins. Hope filled the spaces previously marred by pain, transforming their collective grief into a powerful surge of determination. Let's create a community support group, Martha proposed, her voice strong and resonant. We can begin organizing regular meetings, a safe place for everyone to share, learn, and heal. Paws of Hope can become a beacon for lost souls. Applause erupted again, voices raised high in agreement. Martha's heart soared. Finally, they had the momentum they needed.
They could build something lasting, something that would unite the community, not just with animals, but with compassion for each other. As the discussions continued, Martha looked down at the pit bull curled up at her feet. Somehow, in this chaotic day filled with revelations, he had become the heart of it all, the symbol of resilience and hope. Perhaps he was the very spirit that had led everyone here, nesting them together. But amidst all this hope, a thought lingered quietly. What if the road ahead was filled with challenges they weren't prepared for? What if those stories reached far beyond the meeting ground? Martha felt the question slip away for now. Today held purpose, connection, and a spark of excitement about their mission. The buzz in the room wrapped around her like an embrace. One by one, community members began volunteering ideas and support for the events to come. They spoke of outreach programs, education, animal welfare training sessions, and more. Martha looked around, her heart brimming with gratitude. This wasn't just about dogs or lost pets. It was about a community reclaiming its heart and soul. They were constructing a vision of togetherness where compassion thrived in every corner. As the day wore on, Martha couldn't help but smile. She knew it wouldn't always be easy. The truths they faced would require courage, but this community was ready to fight for change. And as one last note filled the air, she implored, "Let's keep this wave of momentum alive. Let's gather again next week and plan our first community event under the name Paws of Hope. Together, we can bring voices that need to be heard." It was decided. They would meet again. They would rise. And just as laughter erupted once more, Martha reflected on the journey ahead.
It wasn't just a second chance for the animals, but a chance for everyone to rebuild and reclaim their lives. "You just took a leap of faith," Jenna said at her side, smiling. Martha nodded as the gentle thump of the pit bull's tail echoed off her heart. "Together, we'll make it work," she said, every word igniting a flame of hope. Together, there was power in that word. It resonated deep within her, binding her to those around her. As the energy filled the room once again, light dimmed the shadows of doubt. What if this was just the beginning of a greater story? What transformations would unfold in the days to come? The sunrise of their hope was bright, and nothing could dim its light now. As the stars twinkled dimly in the night sky, Martha knew they were not just fighting for dogs, they were ushering in a new era for their community, one marked by love and resilience. Now it was time to take that first step forward, and they wouldn't look back. You need to subscribe now to not miss this incredible journey of transformation. This is the moment to show your support by leaving a like. Every click helps lift our community's voice. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. We want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who are ready to embark on this journey with us. Together, we can make a difference and spread hope.